Hello everyone, this is Eldoric The Guardian Tank here with a quick instructional video on how to begin tanking with a tank at level 85. So we're going to click on protection. Let's move right into the tree. Now the first tier, with any first tier towns, you gotta remember, is they're designed to be somewhat accessible by everyone, so there should be something in there that other people will want. Here is the first one, Insight. Now it's a fairly easy thing to figure out. What it does is increases your heroic strike critical chance by up to 15%. So if we click up on there, you see we get the 15% critical chance. Okay, and if you get a critical strike, then the next heroic strike you do will then be a critical. Now you can't chain it. If you get a critical off of this talent, then it doesn't cause the buff to reappear, but it's a nice single target threat bonus. This is great for a single target build. You're going to be using heroic strike a lot. It's a great filler, and I like to use it, so we're going to put some points in there. Toughness, you're going to want this. Increases all of your armor by 10%. Great ability. Okay, Blood and Thunder. Now, starting out as a warrior tank, this is probably where you're going to want to go. Blood and Thunder, let me click on here, gives you a 100% chance to have Ren spread through all the things attacking you via Thunderclap. What that means is I put Ren on one target. When I hit Thunderclap, all the targets that get hit by my Thunderclap will be now infected with Rend. Great, and it's a full Rend. It's like if you hit Rend on every single one. Tremendous AoE right there. So it's a very good talent. It's a very good starter talent. Now, as I go through this tree, you're going to notice I'm going to say some things are good in Raid, some things are good in 5-mans. That's because the Protection-Warrior has the best protection tree because there's a lot of room. You can really be like, okay, well, I'm a single target raid tank. These are the towns I want. Well, I'm doing 5-mans, then these are the towns I want. So we're going to keep moving down the tree. Now, Shield Specialization. You generate 5 extra rage. Excuse me, when we click on that, you can generate 15 extra rage every time you block, and 60 rage when you spell reflect. This is very good rage generator. Now, you're probably not going to be rage-starved without it, but it's the kind of thing that helps. In an AoE situation, it can be incredible. I like this one. I normally have it. Next, Shield Mastery. Don't get them confused. You got Shield Specialization, which is for rage. Shield Mastery, which is for damage, or damage reduction. Okay, let's click on this guy. You get a 30% decrease to your shield block ability. Shield wall by 180 seconds, and it also causes your shield block to absorb 20% magic damage for 6 seconds. This is a huge talent that was changed in patch 4.1 with the 20% reduction for 6 seconds. You can look at shield block before then was almost used as, a rotational ability. I have the tooltip up here. Increases your block up to 25%, and if all of your avoidance plus your block plus this became more than 100%, then all that spillover would then become critical block chance. That's great. But it's kind of lackluster as an overall cooldown. This talent, Shield Mastery, actually allows it to become a really, really useful, reducing magic damage that much, and combined with the 30-second reduction, it goes from a minute cooldown to a 30-second, which makes it one of the stronger short-term cooldowns in the game. Now, the duration is less than similar ones, which are 1 minute, such as Bark Skin for the Druid, which also offers 20% reduction to everything, but you still get it. And most magic damage doesn't happen for more than a few seconds anyway. You just gotta be strategic. You can't hit it too early. So, a wonderful ability here. And Shield Block as itself is pretty good, but we'll talk more about abilities in a later video. Next, we're gonna go to Hold the Line. I'm a fan of this one. Basically, what it allows you to do is when you get a good parry, you get an increase to your critical block chance and your critical strike chance for 10%. The critical strike is great, good for threat, can't complain, and it'll feed into other things like this Insight, or if you go with Deep Wounds, it'll feed into there, but the bigger part here is your critical block chance. Now, before the end of this video, I will talk about critical block and how these things work into it, because it's not exactly clear, but I like this ability. Gag Order. This is probably one of the easiest things so far to skip. Now, what this does is it gives your pummel, which you can see right here, which is basically just an interrupt. Change, they removed shield slam or shield bash for this. It basically allows that and heroic throw to silence, and this becomes the range silence. Some warriors don't get it. They prefer to use the 2 points other places. I do use this one, and as a starting warrior tank, I highly recommend you get it. Your ability to handle a caster mob can be problematic without it. This will allow you to use your heroic throw. It silences the caster, and the caster is then forced to run to you into melee range, so you don't have to chase after him. Very good ability. Moving on, we move to our first granted ability in this tree, Last Stand. Now, I tried with the new patch 4.0 not to use Last Stand, but I decided to actually go with it because the 30% is great and the duration is incredibly long. Now, it's important to note, and if you've been a DPS warrior, that this shares a cooldown with this ability, Rallying Cry, which basically does half of what you get out of Last Stand. It's it's only 20% health, and it's only for 10 seconds. That affects everyone around you for 30 yards, which is good. Now, they share cooldowns, so if you use one, you can't use the other. I went with this because the 30% heal is considerable at this stage, so I decided it was a worthwhile thing to have. But you can skip it and rely more on using Rallying Cry as a cooldown to play it. So it is optional. I do recommend you go with it, though, especially as a new tank. Okay, Concussion Blow. It's a nice stun, does good damage, should be in your rotation, handy on trash. You want to keep it in there. You can skip it if you choose, though. Next one, Bastion of Defense. You absolutely must have this. This is what gives you your critical strike immunity. So a boss cannot critically strike you. That 6% reduction prevents it, okay? In addition to that, when you have a block, dodge, or parry, you have a chance to become enraged. Now, enraged do matter a bit for warriors, or for protection warriors. One factor is you have this increase to threat, which is great, because it's giving you a 10% increase to your overall physical damage. The other thing is you have enrage regeneration, which is another part of your cooldown package, which restores 30% of your total health over 10 seconds. Now, when I actually show you gameplay, I'll show you how to weave your various abilities together to actually get more out of this. But you have to be enraged to use it. Now, you can force an enrage by using Berserker Rage, which as a warrior you should be acquainted with. But this ability allows it to happen naturally, and you're going to have it anyway. Warbrainer lets you use your Intercept, your Charge, and Intervene abilities in defensive stance, or pretty much any stance, but most importantly, you can use them when you're in this stance. So it allows you, this is where the warriors get their great mobility from. Next on, we're going to go to Improved Vengeance. This is typically picked up. It's a great increase to your bread and butter threat ability that you'll find in your standard tanking rotation, and it allows it to hit to a little extra AoE threat if you want it. The problem with this, though, is if you're in a situation where you can't break CC, or you have to be very controlling of what you're attacking with other mobs nearby, then you can't use this ability. You'll have to not use Revenge in order not to have it hit something else. So keep that in mind if picking up this talent. As a new tank, I would take it. Devastate you absolutely need. Okay? It replaces Sunder Armor completely and causes 150% weapon damage, plus the 854 at this level, and causes the Sunder Armor effect, which reduces the armor of whatever you're attacking, and it stacks up 3 times. It's a great ability, definitely want, and it's, using Sunder Armor, it's a very handy ability, because all your melee DPS in the raid or group will really like it, because it increases their damage. Well, thank you for joining us here on the first part of the Talents for Tanking Warriors. Please seek out part 2 for the rest of the information going into the other trees. Until next time, this is Eldoric, the Guardian Tank, and choose your talents wisely.